A lot of people, when they hear the phrase do for self, they think that that just means go on your own and hustle and grind and be by yourself, take on the lone wolf attitude or mentality. And nothing can be further from the truth. That is not what do for self means. It's much bigger than that. Um, Doing for self it's really a mindset. It's a movement, and it's actually a model for total liberation and freedom. Total liberation and freedom when you're doing for self in the way that we're talking about. So this is what doing for self really means. Since I've started talking about this, say, let me kind of unpack this a little bit more. When we talk about doing for self, we're talking about taking 100% responsibility and ownership, taking charge of your future, of the money you want to make, the income and money that you want to make, the wealth that you want to create and build, the business or career that you need to design for yourself. And it's taking charge of your family's destiny, the direction for you and your family. Which way do you want them to go? Where do you want your children to end up in life? Your grandchildren, that someone is the catalyst for that, right? And we do this consciously. That's really the thing that makes all the difference here, is that some of us stumble into doing for self by default, right? or just by happenstance. So it's something that's in us and we get to doing it, but then some are fired or pushed into it or whatever the case may be. But it's more powerful, it's more potent, it's better designed when you consciously say, you know what, I'm going to do for myself instead of waiting on a job, instead of waiting on someone to create a program or even an opportunity for me to do something. Doing for self means creating your own opportunities and not expecting someone else to do that. And the worst of all of those waitings is waiting for maybe 8 years, and in some cases 12 years. I'm old enough to know and watch our people wait 12 years for a politician to save us. That's not what doing for self is. Doing for self literally means stepping out of those artificial comfort zones, coming up out of survival mode and taking ownership, going into ownership mode, right? Taking charge of your reality and the reality that you want to construct. Doing for self means tapping into your unique God-given capabilities, your talents, your skills, your gifts, the knowledge that you've accumulated, the wisdom and the experiences of your past, the story that you've been living. And you take that and you craft and create the life, career, and business that works for you. Your uniqueness and the purpose that God has you on. Yes, you should take on coaches and mentors and get advice and seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. But ultimately, you have to make the transition that you're going to take all of that tutelage, mentoring, guidance, advisory, books you've read, experiences that you've lived, and you're going to craft and construct the life and business that works for you, not for Brother B, not for him or not for her. It has to work for you. It can include him and her. I'm not saying we're isolating people, and I'll get to that in 1 second. But your life has to be designed by you. It has to energize you, motivate you, galvanize your spirit, give you it piques your interest and your curiosities that allow you to want to master something, do something meaningful. That's what doing for self really means. It's not about having a side hustle, right? It's about carving out your own lane, developing your own movements. And when I say developing your own movements, I'm not talking about you got to be the leader of millions of people. No, I'm talking about there is a group, a community, a tribe, if you want to use that language, of people that resonate with you, that you are meant to serve. And that could be anywhere from 5, 10, 15, 20 people. If God has blessed you with the skill sets, the mindset to build a platform to serve millions of people, so be it. All praises due to God for that gift. But most of us want that, and we're neglecting the first steps of building the community that would allow us to tap into those other communities. I want to be clear. I said I was going to come back to this. When we say doing for self, we don't mean do it by yourself. Because now, if we want to talk about serving thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of people, you can't do that by yourself. That means you're going to have to look at your unique capabilities. But the magic is as you're, and this takes time, right? It's not a challenge. This ain't a 7-day challenge. You're not going to discover your life's work, all of your unique talent, skills, and gifts, and the things that you're to do in this world in a 5-day challenge, a 7-day challenge, a 30-day challenge. It just doesn't work like that. You're setting yourself up for failure. But the trick, as I was speaking about, is once you go through this time period of learning yourself, because you can't do for self except you be yourself, and you can't be yourself without knowing yourself and what makes you tick. Your inclinations, your fears, your talents, your gifts, your triggers, all of these things, you have to study that for yourself. But as you learn about your unique capabilities, if you're going to serve more and more people, now you have to start combining your own unique capabilities, but now combining them with the unique capabilities of others. And that's how you get bigger and bigger results and movements to do some of the things that we want to do, but we're not developing the skill sets to do that, right? And one of those skill sets is once you know who you are and what you do, it is a skill to now to start recognizing the unique capabilities in other people and now finding ways to connect with those who you connect with. It won't be everybody. That's a skill. Now, in this time period, we have the tools. If you're watching this video, whether it's on a laptop, a phone, desktop, you got some tools that were not in existence 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago. That's, again, I'm old enough to remember when even where you're watching this video didn't exist, right? Whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, these companies, these tools, these resources, these platforms didn't exist over 20 years ago. So now you have the tools. We just talked about the people, the network, and the tribes that you can connect with. And as you're discovering self, learning self, now you develop your vision and purpose for yourself. And that allows you to start building, start creating, start doing for self. No more blaming, no more pointing the fingers, no more waiting on someone else to do it. You just start building. That's why I created some of the things that I've created to kind of help stimulate that thought, not to replace it, but that's why I wrote the book, The Black Entrepreneurial Revolution, right? Time dictates the agenda. It helps to stimulate that thought. I created the Mob Network that you can join, and it's free. It's for ambitious, growth-minded Black entrepreneurs and business owners and professionals to connect and network. Again, not leech off each other, not come in and sell on each other, but what are the similarities that we have? We know that we have to build relationships, but what is a good and smart way, right? Using artificial intelligence to start networking with people properly and being respectful of people, and then making genuine connections to start building and constructing things that satisfy us and others, that are meaningful and purposeful. That's why I created those tools. Hopefully, what I believe, living in my purpose, doing myself, right? These are my unique capabilities. So the time is now. There's another video that I created called the Do for Self Economy is here. It's now. Whether you want to accept it or not, it's not even an option nowadays to do for self. It's pretty much mandatory. Or else you're going to be at the mercy of someone else who doesn't have your best interests at heart, who doesn't have the interests of your family at heart. We're leaving ourselves vulnerable by not embracing this mindset, this ideology, this philosophy that we must do for self. The time is now. Of course, all of the uncertainty that we're experiencing in the world can make that difficult. You mean, Brother Bedford, with all of this stuff that's going on around me, now you're telling me that I need to kind of focus and start doing something for, yes. Because if you're all over the place, if you're functioning, I'm doing a study now on the human brain, and they talk about how the brain is so incoherent, right? And the goal is to have a coherent brain where it's at peace and it's working together, and you're in alignment, and you're able to move and function and think properly. You're able to heal yourself of certain diseases, right? But in a world that is filled with distractions, filled with uncertainty, filled with all types of stuff, it causes our brains and our activities to be all over the place, and we can't focus. And so I know, now here I come telling you, hey, slow down. Who are you? No, who are you really? What are your unique gifts, your unique talents and strengths? Because you can't fix that's going on if we can't fix this. If we can't develop the fortitude and the strength to be a part of something that can make significant change. So I know that's rough, but this is the real meaning of do for self, not run off and start doing all types of stuff. It means coming together first, yourself, and then coming together with like-minded people and begin to do the work that's going to solve many of the problems that we see that we don't think is solvable. And some of them are not solvable because they should go out of existence. These are not things that we created, especially not from our right mind. So now, as this stuff is falling apart, we have to think of doing something new, something bigger, something better, something brighter. So it's not the end, it's actually the beginning of something new. But in order for something new to be brought into existence, we have to become new. That's what doing for self is. You and I have to decide to do for self. And we got to get off the sidelines. And we can't keep waiting on somebody else to build, somebody else to create, somebody else to give me my assignment. Oh, God is sufficient. So start building. Stop waiting. This is your time. Start connecting with brothers and sisters who help you to realize your full potential and move forward. And let us begin to really understand what doing for self really means. This is your brother Bedford, and I'll come back and talk about this a little bit more in the next video. Take care.